Everyone got their fingerless gloves, their Cheetos, their hoodies. Welcome to 1984. Human behavior can be manipulated and influenced without us even knowing. Today we're going to explore artificial intelligence and ubiquitous technical surveillance and the meeting of the two. First question that I know we're going to have is, what exactly do I mean by AI? There's a bunch of different definitions for it. Let's just look at this diagram. As you know, AI has a bunch of different technologies, everything from machine learning to deep learning to generative AI. But when I say AI, I'm talking about all of them, the all-encompassing field of artificial intelligence as we know it. I want to level set something here. I am not an AI expert. I am not here to teach you about this AI platform, that AI platform. I'm not here to talk about specifically about any large language model. I'm here to talk about how the things that we already understand can be done with all of the different types of AI can be applied and combined with ubiquitous technical surveillance. For example, we all know that you can do chatbots and virtual assistants, right? Tons of them out there. We all know that you can have AI-powered content creation tools, such as this wonderful panda bear and grizzly bear that are engaging in not hacking and don't pay too much attention to the uniforms. But that's AI generated. Pretty cool, right? We know that we can do all sorts of things. Health and fitness, AI can help us in many ways. So what I wanted to do is level set, make sure that we all understand what AI can do. If you don't, then I suggest you maybe use an AI chatbot and ask it to give you a summary of what current implementations of AI there are out there right now in the marketplace, whether commercial, consumer, or experimental. Then, what this is not supervillain 101. I'm not going to get into how to do a lot of stuff. We're going to talk exactly about what can be done and what is being done, not necessarily about how to do that. For that course, we will meet on a barge in international waters at some point. So, stay tuned for that one. Another question you probably have is, what do I mean by ubiquitous technical surveillance and UTS? What I would suggest is you watch my explanation video of what is UTS. I have a whole other 30-minute block kind of walking you through it. But if only for now, for the purposes of this video, there was a, 60-second video that could give you a summary of it.
At 11:59 p.m. on December 31st, 1999, the world anxiously awaited the arrival of Y2K. The digital apocalypse that many predicted may not have come to pass. Nevertheless, the new millennium welcomed something that would change the course of human history: the digital data age. An age in which every real-world action creates consequential digital data, where farm equipment makes use of military satellites to harvest genetically enhanced crops, and commuters can enjoy nearly hands-free ride as vehicles communicate with each other to ensure a seamless and safe journey. Unmanned aerial systems, once used to deliver precise kinetic payloads on the battlefield, are now being used to gently deliver household items precisely to your door. Robots are now a mainstay in our homes. They assist with everything from cleaning our floors to entertaining our pets. Watches, once used only to tell time, can now tell us how many steps we've taken in a day, who's calling, and what the weather is in London. Technologies like these have become an integral part of our lives. This phenomenon is the basis for the field of ubiquitous technical surveillance.
All right, wasn't that video pretty awesome? So you know everything there is to know about ubiquitous technical surveillance. No, I'm just going to give you a quick rundown. It's a term that was simply just made up to explain existence in the 21st century. It's just another academic discipline. You might see it used a lot in public sector. I know there's a lot of government contractors and stuff that refer to the term. You could see it all over academic work from FFRDCs, federally funded research and development centers, and a lot of other institutions. It's just an academic field to describe all the technologies that intertwined can connect people with places and activities. So pretty much, yes, the marketing advertisement ecosystem. The way this field is broken up academically is they break it up into 5 vectors, and those 5 vectors are visual, physical, electronic signals, travel, financial, and online. Visual and physical is anything that has to do with you. Would be facial recognition, your DNA, it could even count license plate readers and whatnot. Then you get into the electronic signals vector. That's anything in the RF spectrum. I know we got the EM spectrum over here, RF spectrum right here. So we're really just focusing on different communications protocols that occur in the RF spectrum. Sure, you could expand that out and do the EM spectrum, but we're just talking about RF for the most part. Then you have the travel vector, which encompasses anything that has to do with your travel records. It could be that PNR, the record locator, that weird alphanumeric thing that you're always forgetting when the travel agent gives it to you. It could also be a bus ticket. It could be a visa record. It could be anything having to do with travel. Then you have the financial vector. That talks about anything with transfer value, store of wealth, any of that. It could be a bank account record. It could be a crypto wallet. It could be a bunch of gold in your closet. It could be some random, very, very valuable, expensive work of art that your buddy made. Then lastly is the online vector. While all of these vectors, I should have said, are distinct in focus, they really overlap, are intertwined, and are interdependent on one another. The online vector is of particular interest because unlike the other vectors, the online vector really relies on you feeding it. While you may not have a lot of say in how your fingerprints are collected, how your face is collected, what your bank does with your data, what electronic signals your phone puts off, you don't have a lot of control in that because somebody else has written those protocols, somebody else is providing you that service, and you're dependent on that service. The online vector focuses on stuff that you feed into it. That's your Instagram, your Facebook, your Yelp reviews, your Google Maps stuff. This is all stuff that you voluntarily feed into this system. And sure, sometimes you have online banking access. So you're now feeding the financial vector and the online vector. I can use my bank and touch the financial vector without ever touching the online vector if I'm not using that app, if I'm not doing stuff online, but we all do. So generally speaking, we feed the online vector unless you completely live in the middle of the woods, which is awesome. Please, let's hang out. Let me know how you do it. Then key thing to understand is that UTS and the technologies that underlie the entire field are pervasive and permanent. They are with us at home, they're with us on the go, they're with us at work, and they are with us during our free time. Think about it. You wake up, your alarm is tied to your phone. It's also tied to your alarm that's connected to your Spotify/Pandora account, which then turns on your Bluetooth coffee maker to make your espresso. And then as you're on your way to work, you're using satellite navigation, military satellites in the air to get you from point A to point B. And of course, your car's collecting a whole bunch of stuff on you. That's a whole other topic for another day. Then you're at work. You got these access cards at work. You have your usernames and passwords. You have all sorts of other things. You have the HVAC system, which detects when you get into work. You could tell your boss, oh, I was here on time. Your boss is going to check the HVAC system and say, well, the automatic lights and heating system didn't turn on until you arrived, which was 15 minutes late. Then the center of your free time. How many of us are just buried in our phones all the time? I know you guys are buried on your phone. I know you guys are buried on your phone, right? So it's the center of our free time. Everything we do is connected with these technologies. Lastly, there's something I came up with called the GCCD cycle. And I'm sure a lot of other people came up with this stuff because I should have said from the beginning, I am not an expert. You are not an expert. They are not an expert. Nobody is an expert. We're all just trying to do our best. And collectively, we can start tackling these concepts and these technologies. So the GCCD cycle is something that I use to explain things to people. That is that technology is born in the depths of government labs at Area 51, then it gets commercialized because that technology is licensed to commercial entities. So let's take an example as I go through this. Let's look at unmanned aerial systems. Over Area 51, you have these autonomous aerial systems flying over it, no pilots. People are reporting, hey, I think I saw a plane with no pilots. You're crazy, that's a UFO, whatever it is. All of a sudden, over the battlefields of Afghanistan, we realize, uh-oh, they are real. Then that technology gets licensed to a commercial entity. Someone says, hey man, I really need to inspect like 1,000 miles of pipeline. Can I use this system? I need to track livestock. I need to look at my property for miles. Can I use these systems? Sure, here's a license. You make a commercial iteration of it. And then in the depths of these marketing departments at these corporations, at these commercial entities, some dude's like, bro, we need to make more money off of these licenses. And the other guy's like, that'll never work. And then some guy's like, dude, hear me out. Have you heard of influencers? So of course they make a consumer version of this because somebody's gonna buy it and do like #life, yay, as they are on the top of a mountain doing their influencing, or you have the drone following them while they're surfing. So now you have a consumer version of a commercial technology, which was born in the depths of government research labs at Area 51. Then some nerd, and I say that affectionately, obviously, because duh, nerd here. Some nerd's like, hey, I want it to do something that it's not meant to do. Then you have DIY enthusiasts, do-it-yourself people, who are then messing with the consumer version of the technology to make it go faster, further, be able to lift more, have more of a payload. And then guess what happens? Look at the right-hand side of this slide. You now have munitions on a super-powered, hyper-powered consumer drone being used for government purposes. So see, that's the GCCD cycle. It goes from government to consumer to commercial to DIY, then back to government again. That is what's causing one of the main things, which is you to be a data factory and a UTS magnet. Everything that you do touches and involves UTS, whether you're checking your camera, opening your phone, paying for something. You can't pay for a muffin these days without being at the center of basically all 5 UTS vectors. It's important to understand and give examples of this stuff. So if you got an iPhone out there, this for you nerds, you're gonna already know this, it's no big deal. But if you got an iPhone, it works on Android, but I'm gonna walk you through an iPhone simply because it's uniform, because of course you got LG Androids, Motorola Android, Samsung Android, et cetera, so I can't give you a uniform way to do this for Android, so I'm telling you on iPhones. So on iPhones, go to your settings, and your Wi-Fi doesn't even have to be on. Go to settings, go to Wi-Fi. Top right-hand side, you're gonna see a little button that says edit. Little letters, blue letters that say edit. Click on that. Give you a second to figure it out. Uh-oh, what did you see? Right now, what popped up is a list of every single network that you've connected to, Wi-Fi network that you've connected to, but have not forgotten. This is your PNL, or your preferred network list. This is just the way the 802.11x series of protocols work. Every time that your Wi-Fi is on, your phone yells at the top of its lungs, "Hello, my name is iPhone 123, and I am looking for any of the following networks which I trust and have previously connected to." Someone like me, sort of just sitting there snooping with a very, very rudimentary device, can look at the list of all of your networks. What I can do then is I can establish a pattern of life by feeding this list of network and hardware identifiers to a system like Weigel. Props to the people at Weigel. Weigel is a cool project where people are just harvesting all of this information and posting it out there for people to see. You can sign up for an account. It's great. But what I've just done now is I've gone from your PNL, your preferred network list, to a map with dots on it that give me your entire pattern of life. With that, what can I do? I can sit outside a place that you frequent. I can spoof not even spoof, I can de-authenticate you from your current Wi-Fi network or even your mobile carrier, create a Wi-Fi network that you unknowingly connect to, and then, just like that meme, I'm the captain now, look at me, I am the ISP now, right? Though that is the most basic of things, and that is the problem that ubiquitous technical surveillance poses. That what was yesterday nation-state level technology today is in the hands of an adversarial group like a terrorist organization or something like that. And tomorrow it's going to be in the hands of, an angry internet user, a bored teenager, your neighbor who's trying to mess with you. So we have to address these things. But I know what you're thinking. So what? Well, here's the problem. Have you met the internet? Do you know what exactly is out there, right? I am part of the internet. I am part of this whole mess of stuff. So I'm not disparaging anything, but have you met us? Have you met yourself? I'm going to give you a quick story, quick rundown of the old Shia LaBeouf example. So Shia LaBeouf, back in 2016, put up a flag as an art installation on the streets of New York, and that flag said, "He will not divide us," referencing a then presidential candidate. New Yorkers do what New Yorkers do. They vandalized it, threw feces at it, urine, spray painted it, whatever it is they do. So Shia LaBeouf said, "Man, that's not cool. I want my art installation to be seen." So what does he do? He takes this flag and he puts it out in the middle of nowhere. He pops it out and then he puts a webcam on it and he says, "Here we go. Now you can still look at my art installation." You know what the internet says? "Challenge accepted, homeboy. Let's do this." So then the internet gets together on 4chan. And for those of you all who don't know what 4chan is, let me give you a quick explanation. Let's say X is the fanciest French restaurant that you've ever been to. The kind of French restaurant that you have to make reservations with ahead of time, and you got to wear a tie and a jacket, right? So that's X. So you're at this restaurant, you're on X, and then you start posting some stuff, or you're at the French restaurant, you're drinking a little bit of the wine, the food is kind of small, so the wine starts to hit you a little hard. But you want to keep going, get a little more risque, but you can't do it at the French restaurant. You can't do it at X because you're going to get kicked out. So what do? You then take off that tie and you go across the street to the hipster gin bar. That is Reddit, ladies and gentlemen. So you're at Reddit. You could be a little more loose than you were at the French restaurant on X. You can do a little bit more stuff. But then you start getting a little sloshed because that gin bar, the gin's hitting you hard. You didn't eat much at the French restaurant and you're older. So, you can't handle your liquor as much. So you know what you say? You're like, "Dude, let's get really rowdy and let's go to that bar down by the truck stop where they never ask for any ID that we used to go to in high school. Ladies and gentlemen, you have now arrived at 4chan. 4chan is the internet equivalent of that truck stop bar where they don't ask for ID that you went to in high school. So we're on 4chan. A bunch of people get together on 4chan and they say, let's get after this flag, bros. Let's do it. So they do it. And then these are people from all parts of the world, from all parts of the political spectrum, for all parts of the socioeconomic spectrum. They're from everywhere. They're just working together. So it's kind of beautiful in a way, right? Everyone working together, all sorts of different people for a common goal. So then what they do is some guy is looking at the cloud patterns. He's learning the difference between cumulus clouds, nimbus clouds, cirrus clouds. He's overlaying that with National Weather Service radar data. Some other guy is looking at the condensation trails on the plains. He's overlaying that with publicly available flight radar data. Some other guy is looking at the star maps. He's pulling out like a sextant, you know, those like Columbus things to navigate in the ocean. Like, dude, we got latitude, we got all this stuff. So they zero in on a place that it could be. Then some dudes out there with this car, they grid this thing off. And he's just hammering on his horn, and some dudes on the camera be like, oh, dude, I think we hear it. We hear your horn. Cool. You're warmer, colder. Got it. So then they identify the property. They do open source research on the person. Do they have guns? How many people live there, etc. And then look at the top left-hand side. They send a consumer drone to make sure that the camera is there. And after that, they sneak into the property in the dead of night. They replace the flag with a Pepper the Frog shirt and a MAGA hat. The internet wins, touchdown, spin it, do the touchdown dance. The internet is undefeated, ladies and gentlemen, undefeated. This was done in the before time. In the before time, the data that you put out there would lead people to conclusions based on, as you see, your search history, browsing history, purchasing habits, public records like your property records, marriage records, etc. We know this. But this is the before time. And in the before time, here's how accurate these predictions were. In 2012, Target sent a congratulations, you're pregnant package to a 15-year-old girl. The father was incensed. He shows up at Target and he's, bashing down the door. I'm, hyperbole here, saying, how dare you send this to my daughter? The manager at Target is like, bro, I'm just the manager at the store level. We don't do that at the store level. That's corporate. So the father contacts Business Insider and Forbes, and there's some great articles which I can link to you in the description of the video. And an employee from Target, under the condition of anonymity, tells one of these reporters that hypothetically, if a customer purchases zinc magnesium tablets, a brightly colored rug, cocoa butter, and a bag that's large enough to be a diaper bag, but not necessarily a diaper bag in their system, there's an 85% chance that they are pregnant, hypothetically. That blows my mind. You don't even have to purchase these things at the same time. They just have to be purchased within a certain allotted period of time by the customer. 85% chance you're pregnant. And guess what happens at the end? The little girl was in fact pregnant. Wow. So that is the before time. And in the before time, from an information security perspective, we suffer from these scams and we have these frameworks and we have these tools. Everyone knows, typical phishing, the old Nigerian prince scam. You have phone scams, you have business email compromises, and of course we have tools. We have Metasploit. Everyone knows about Vault 7 now already. And we have these wonderful frameworks like the good old Cybersecurity Framework 1.1. I know we're all on 1.2 now, right? Sorry, on 2.0. Nobody out there still on 1.1. We're all on 2.0, correct? All right, just making sure. I'll let you guys chance to read that. I'll read it to you.
So then the scammer asks the guy to send $25 million to his account.
And our company's policy frameworks and technical tools stopped it, right?
No, they didn't, because the entire board of directors of a company in Hong Kong was deepfaked, and they call this guy in the middle of the night and ask him to transfer $25 million. And the guy does it, because not only did they hijack their video conferencing accounts, I believe it was Zoom, they also deepfaked the actual video and voice of the board of directors. So think about it. You get a call in the middle of the night saying, hey, we're doing a merger and an acquisition that we told nobody about, or hey, we need to pay a fine that's coming in from a court case that we'd hidden. You're probably going to transfer that money. So $25 million out the door. And now we have a problem. AI that's been used to make those deepfakes, and UTS had a good old Hallmark movie meet cute. Don't pretend you don't like Hallmark movies. I don't care what anyone says. Hallmark movies are amazing. She's a working city girl and she's got this guy that she's with that just doesn't appreciate the little things. So she goes back because she inherited a pumpkin and reindeer farm to her small town. And then the handsome ranch hand, who she just doesn't get along with at first, shows her the important things. She leaves that dude, but then that dude ends up with like the other business girl and everything is happy and they save the farm before Christmas. Hallmark. Awesome. So anyway, here's what happens. Look at the left-hand side. Look at the right-hand side. This is some great research done by the MIT Technology Review. These are Chinese deepfake advertisers. So what they want is they want the pitch woman to be able to work 24/7, but they can't have her working 24/7. So what do? They take her scans, they put it on somebody else's body, and now you have deepfake advertisers that can work 24/7, and you have a uniform brand ambassador for your product. Great. But look at the middle. You might want to look up the case of Olga Loyek. She is a Ukrainian influencer whose videos were stolen, and then she was deep-faked to selling Russian products in China. Yes, she's a Ukrainian influencer, and you heard right. Someone took her videos, deep-faked her to start speaking Mandarin to pitch Russian products. And she has less followers in her real page than her deepfakes. Her deepfakes have more followers. So this is what could happen to anyone who's putting video out there, which is why I do this weird face thing and the weird voice thing. That explains it. Welcome to 1984. This is where we are at now. This is the after time. We now have all of the data from before, which is, your purchase history, public records, your browsing history, all this kind of stuff, plus device telemetry, SDK aggregation, all of your health data, payment ecosystems, automotive data, watching habits, multi-device data, combined data sets, and everything. So instead of saying you're going to purchase these 4 products during this period of time and there's an 85% chance you're pregnant, no, now it's basically telling you, hey, I see you're going to go on a date. I know you don't know you're going on the date yet, but you're going to press yes to then you're going to swipe right on the next person that comes up on this app. Also, here's some wedding venue recommendations and a divorce lawyer because 94.6% chance you're going to need both. These systems know what we are going to do before we do. That is because all of this data that is aggregated because of the 21st century technologies that govern our lives that make up UTS are being analyzed at scale by AI models that can predict and influence human behavior like never before. We could probably tell you which one of your friend group is most likely to sneeze yet. We don't even know why, but these predictions are eerily accurate. Back in 2018, Uber got in trouble because they were figuring out if you were drunk or not. They were seeing, are you close to a bar? Are you moving your phone in a weird way? Are you typing weird? There are now companies also being able to detect early onset Parkinson's because the imperceptible movements, at least imperceptible to a human, are picked up by your phone's gyroscope or the accelerometer, and they can tell you're exhibiting signs of early onset Parkinson's. This stuff can be used for good or bad or indifferent, but it's important for us to understand that this is real now. Human behavior can be manipulated and influenced without us even knowing because of the amount of data and the power we have to process that data, combine it with everybody else's data, and establish what a human is going to do or how to get a human to do something without us even knowing. That is where we are now. We are at AI plus UTS, which is traditional threats to the millionth or infinity power. Think about it. We got CEO deepfakes. That's an easy day now. So before, this wasn't a big deal, trying to imitate someone's voice. Now you even have a rash of fake kidnappings where you have teenagers who are getting deepfaked because, of course, they post their voice in the video online. They are calling their mother or father. They are saying, hey, I went across the border with a guy to Mexico or Canada, and now I'm stuck here. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. Can you please Western Union a bunch of money to this address? In the kid's voice. Or they can say, some bad men have me. You need to pay them $50,000. If they're doing it just for a teenager fake deepfake kidnapping, they're doing it for CEOs as well. So at the end of this, I'm going to give you a couple little tips. And the first tip with the CEO stuff is have an out of band parole. Have something, a keyword, a password, a passphrase, something that your CEO or principal has to do in order to prove it's them on camera. You got stock manipulation. We're not going to get into the how-to, but think about it. All I got to do is create an army of bots and then start giving you bad or good Yelp reviews or pretend that I'm for your company or against your company. And this is happening all over the place. There are so many instances and even pictures and videos of bot farms. All you need to do is go on an internet search. Google bot farm, click farm, content farm, and you will see pictures and pictures of these thousands and thousands of phones in a room, getting people playlists, getting people plays on Spotify or Pandora, making upvoting something, downvoting something, causing hashtags to trend. Bots are a big problem, so they can manipulate your company stock. Corporate disinformation, they can say your product is unsafe and they can start tanking your stock that way. We got M&A identification is a big problem with UTS. I can tell you that your company is going to merge before you know it based on the phone activity or before the public knows it. This is stuff that your company needs to protect against. We can talk offline on how your company can better protect against these things. Physical threats, of course, are amplified, extortion, blackmail. I'm not going to get into this stuff in the video. Let's talk offline. But the point is, look at these things. If you're worried about these things and you want to know how to mitigate them with UTS, give me a call. We can have an offline conversation. The biggest issue here that I want to get across in this slide is all of these things can be done on demand, at scale, in real time, and automated. All of this stuff can be automated now, which makes it so difficult. That is where the marriage of AI and UTS really, really has an effect on how we do business and how we need to protect ourselves in this new day and age. And I separate the people who have access to this stuff into three categories: the motivated individual, adversarial group, and nation state. We all know nation state can do anything, unlimited budgets, blah, blah, blah. We've all heard all of the stories online, but that's not who I'm really worried about. I'm more worried about the adversarial group. That could be a competing corporation. That could be a terrorist organization who doesn't like what my company does. But the real worry to me now is the motivated individual. Someone who had bad customer service, someone who just doesn't like my company, has access to the tools that 2 days ago were in the hands of nation states. And if not, they're all going to start converging and everyone's going to start doing the same exact thing because the tools are going to be in our hands at the same time thanks to the marriage of AI and UTS. Yesterday's secret, of course, is today's YouTube tutorial. As you see, this is a Flipper Zero. We know very well what a Flipper Zero does. It can open hotel rooms. Let's see, 3, 2, 1. Is it opening the hotel room? And green light. Hotel room is open, easy day. In the middle, I just popped this device. What does this device do? I made a device that can tell me if there is something following me after Z turns, Y distance, X time. So X time, I set X, Y, and Z, and it can tell me if there's a Bluetooth device following me, if there's a Wi-Fi device, if there's any kind of cell phone that gives off an IMEI or an IMSI. And I'm even doing tire pressure monitoring sensors, and I can even do ADS-B if I want as well. So this little device can tell me if someone's following me. And remember those bot farms that I told you about earlier? Here's a nice video of them. This is real. This is what can be used against your company. I've seen videos of this where people in the music industry use this to just jack up Spotify plays. You'll see a bunch of these accounts with fake Spotify accounts that they pay for, and they're just replaying the same song to put those things up. It makes you question, or it makes you ask questions, possibly, potentially ask questions like, is the Taylor Swift type real, or did they just kind of maybe jack up the plays? And then, I'm not saying it's not, I'm just saying, ask the question, possibly, I don't know. And it's not just hackers who are using this stuff. This is a cartel hit team. A cartel hit team is using these things. I'm not getting this from anywhere. This is the cartel posting it. They're like, hey dudes, check out our awesome stuff. They are using it. They are ahead of most major corporations in terms of adapting to the AI UTS environment. So I'm not saying be like the cartels, but I'm just saying, they're doing a kind of a good job on this stuff. And do we have time for some more examples? Maybe. Let's see. First, Aitana Lopez right over here. She is a fake AI influencer. Nobody figured out she was fake until after a while. She was making like 10 grand a month according to one article, and now she's making even more. There are tons of these copycats out there now. So imagine your corporation getting phished by someone like this. Those pig butchering scams that we're seeing a lot when they make someone fall in love with them. Well, let's look at Aitana. Kind of easy to fall in love with, you know what I'm saying? But this is happening on demand, at scale, in real time, and it's automated now. Then executives are getting swatted. Even top government executives are getting swatted. So when you think about this, you think, wow, even top government executives, heads of agencies can't stop this. What hope is there for me? There's hope at the end. Stick around. And of course, your intellectual property is getting stolen. Talk to me more offline about that if you want to know more. Then, arbitrary detention overseas via AI correlation of travel data. This is really a thing. Countries are detaining each other's citizens. I'm not going to cite a specific government or not, but you might want to talk to your executives about where they are traveling and make sure that they are in accordance with all of the local laws of that country. You don't want to break another country's law when you're trying to do business there. Play nice. Lastly, what can I do? I know that's what you're asking. Here are some tips that I have. First, if you're going to implement this AI stuff in your company, don't outsource the entire implementation to one vendor. There's no reason that your HR customer service chatbot should be talking to your managed detection and response bot. There's no way that your network traffic bot should know what's going on in HR. Maybe there's a little pipeline where there's a reason for them to connect, but you shouldn't have those two implementations together learning on the same platform, my opinion, because then before you know it, someone's going to figure out how to open up a port using your customer service chatbot. Monitor ambient RF protocols. Something that we don't do at all is our firewalls are looking at everything coming over the wire. We're even looking at stuff on Wi-Fi sometimes, but make sure that you're looking at RF protocols, because now you even have tiny devices. Somebody can get a Raspberry Pi Pico, put a battery on it. It's going to run for a couple of weeks, shove it in somewhere, and now they have a Wi-Fi access point inside of your space. Monitor ambient RF for stuff like LoRa. Meshtastic is becoming more and more prevalent. Make sure you know all the Bluetooth devices that are not supposed to be in your area. Look for weird protocols and data exfil over RF. If you see RF doing more than just a three-way handshake and you don't know what the heck it is, or pinging it out once in a while for a couple little kilobytes of data here and there, beware. There is nothing that should be sending megabytes or gigabytes of data from within your office through RF without you specifically knowing what it is doing. Upgrade your intelligence feeds. Everything that I'm hearing is, well, we're getting intelligence feed from this company and that company, and no, get the weirdest dude in your corporation, send them onto Telegram, send them onto YouTube and Reddit, 4chan, Spiral IRC chat rooms, get on whatever the heck you can. Those intelligence feeds are vital, because that's where you see the real stuff that is going on. Have them go to the hacker conventions and conferences. There are awesome information security professionals that might not be wearing the Patagonia vest and button-down shirt that know this stuff better than any of us ever will. Tap into them. They want to help, and just be a little outside the box. Establish the visual and verbal paroles between key roles. Your executives should be able to discern whether something is a deep fake or not. So if I call executive A and B and I have any suspicion of anything, I need to say the password first. Make sure to update that. Make sure it's not just an easy password, nothing like the crow flies at midnight, but only when the squirrel runs in the rain. None of that stuff. Do something that is natural. And you know what? If you suspect someone's doing a video deepfake, here's what you do. Have them open the fridge. Have them walk outside. If they're supposed to be in the United States and you walk outside and you see stuff in another language, you know they're a scammer. Have them walk outside, open the fridge, turn on the TV to see what's on the TV channels. Implement digital self-defense for your executives. I have a whole other video which you could see, and I have some guides that I can send you, which talk about digital self-defense baselines. Even if you have bodyguards, which is what your information security department is, you don't wait to keep getting beat up until your bodyguards arrive. So think about it in the physical aspect, right? If I'm a principal and then somebody is attacking me, I don't just sit there and wait until my bodyguards and my security team arrives. I fight back until my security team arrives. So digital self-defense for executives is exactly that. It's just like regular self-defense. They defend themselves and then they wait for your professional security team to arrive. Then baseline all your employees on UTS. I am blown away at how nobody even knows what UTS is. Baseline them, make them understand that we live in the 21st century, which is very much key. Then augment your existing frameworks with AI UTS considerations, even when they're not updated. So if I'm not mistaken, the cybersecurity framework, I think, was updated like 2005, then 2013, then 22 or something like that. So there's several years between now and when the frameworks are going to get updated. One of the biggest issues we have is we are using 20th century frameworks to address a 21st century problem. So what we need to do is, while those frameworks are formally updated, we need to introduce some stuff in there so that way we are up to date with things. And with that, let's work together. Correct me if there's anything in here that needs correction. If you have any suggestions, let me know. If you want to collaborate on something, let's collaborate. Let's do this. Educate me. I want to learn from you, and hopefully you took something out of this. I don't really edit this. This is sort of just a stream of consciousness thing. And if there's any weird edits in here, it's just because I was